What's up, Dragon Brood? Today it's going to be an exciting day. The internet is happy, Magic players are rejoicing, and this is the first time in forever I've probably seen Magic players across the board excited because Wizards of the Post announced Organized Play is coming back, and not just Organized Play, but the Pro Tour, which everybody wanted, which is super awesome. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to break down their announcement, tell you how we feel about it or whatever. There's just so much stuff to come. Let's just get right into the video. Okay, let's just go through their announcement because there's also going to be a live stream later, which I will be doing a co-live stream of that where we're going to give live reactions. And then I'll have a follow-up video kind of with what we learned from that. And I literally just read this earlier, figured I would just do a video so you get kind of like my first real reaction. So yeah, tabletop, focusing on that. We know that's going to be a thing. And that's what people were excited about because right now, during the, we'll call it the time of COVID, we really were just playing with digital stuff. There was no paper tournaments to be had. There was no big events to go to. And I understand, right? Health reasons, concerns, all that, legalese, whatever. So what they're going to have is the regional championships will be run by a handful of companies, and there's a couple in each region. So for the US, any of your events are going to be run by DreamHack throughout the year. So any events that your local stores qualify you for will put you into an event that's going to be run by DreamHack. Or if you're in Canada, it'll be face-to-face games, and so on, all down the list. So depending on where you live, this is the list of organizers. Canada gets face-to-face, Europe gets Legacy, Australia has Good Game, China gets Kato, Japan and Korea will be run by Big Magic, which they've run a bunch of stuff in the past, if I remember right. Southeast Asia will have Oracle Events, Chinese Taipei, Game Square. Brazil gets City Class Games, Mexico and Central America has Yellow Rabbit, and South America has Magic Sur, which has also run a bunch of big events. So there's some names on here I recognize. Same thing with DreamHack, face-to-face games. So these should be reliable organizers, which is very good. How they were decided, I have no idea, but at least of the ones I know, there is a good amount of history there. Now, when you play in the regional championship qualifiers, you will be able to get foil and non-foil version of these depending on participating and versus doing well or whatever. But there's Lava Spike and Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, two playable cards that are sought after. So awesome. If you get into these events, get these cards. They're actually going to be useful. So that's awesome that there's extra promos just for playing in these events. So this is another way for Wizards to encourage people to go to their local stores, go qualify in these things, and get something to take home. So yeah, don't hate that. All positive. Now for the regional championships, if you win the regional championship, you qualify for Worlds, it says. So it's not even to go to the Pro Tour. This just takes you straight to Worlds. It looks like a regional championship, and you'll earn and then quit. Yeah, straight to the World Championship on top of your Pro Tour invite. So if you win a regional, you get to play in the Pro Tour, and you get an invite. Now, admittedly, there's some other stuff we'll get into on how they qualify on the Pro Tour. There's a separate link for that. But it's cool that if you do win a regional championship, you get double qualified, basically. So you will go to that Pro Tour that it qualifies for, and you automatically get a seat in the World Championship. So it makes these regional championships like doubly valuable to a lot of people. Also, you'll get it to Fairy. That's cool. Pro Tours. Now, first thing, people are excited because Pro Tour, just the name came back, and people wanted like stuff being called the Pro Tour, and I get it. Nostalgia, nothing wrong with that. But it's back. Each event will have $500,000 in prizes. That's actually a pretty big chunk of change. And they're going to try to qualify, I believe they said 300 people for each event. So these are going to be good, sizable tournaments, competitors from all over the world, and $500,000 prizes. So that's actually really, really neat. There's going to be 3 of these a year. So should be easy enough to keep up with as far as qualifying, coverage, all that stuff. Then the World Championships, they're saying there should be about 128 players is what they're aiming for, which is a pretty good size for a World Championship because we've had a lot of smaller events recently, so 128 is a good number. And there's going to be $1 million in prizes for the World Championship. So this actually checks a lot of boxes, right? This is events you qualify for, so you have a clear path. Number of people at each event, so you have a rough idea, and really large prize pool that they can actually promote and say like, hey, we have $1 million World Championship. So also fantastic. With a number that big and 128 players, I'm going to guess, they haven't posted yet, they said those details will be coming, but I'm going to guess that they're going to probably have something like some minimum payout. Like, I don't know, 128th place gets like $500 or whatever, just to, I guess, make everybody feel good about Worlds, and you probably will still be able to have first prize be a pretty significant chunk of money if they dole it out right. So it could still be, who knows, $50,000 for first or something. But either way, this is actually really, really cool. Now, we have been focusing on paper so far with this announcement, but that doesn't mean they're forgetting about digital. Digital still has a home here. And they're saying, all right, going down this list, you'll be able to qualify in events both on Magic Online and Arena, I believe they've said. So, yeah, that's going to be in there. Events on both platforms, they said, will qualify at every level. So that's including the World Championships, it says. So that's actually really cool. There'll be some way to qualify for Worlds just playing online. They said they're going to continue to do the qualifier weekends with some twists, which no surprise because we'll have to feed that into this. Magic Online showcases will qualify you for the World Championships and stuff as well. Magic Arena is going to continue with their weekend qualifier weekends based on ladder play. Nothing wrong with that. And let's see, the MTG Arena qualification pass starts in April. In May, there will be qualifiers. So yeah, we would expect that as well. So all of this actually works out pretty fantastic. So if you do still continue to play Magic Online, Magic Arena, you can still participate in the World Championship. So we have a clearly defined path that there will be stuff for both of the digital clients and for paper, and it includes local stores. So that's awesome. And I'm sure people are saying like, well, when can I qualify at my local store? Like, when can I go ask my local store owner when I can play an event and try to qualify for Worlds? Well, July 2nd is the date. And they said these events can be run as standard, pioneer, modern, or limited, which is great. So this actually adds some extra oomph to the formats that needed it, because some of these fell off during COVID. So standard, pioneer, modern, or limited. And this is good because stores can shape events based on their local attendance, what their players like. Maybe they want to boost sales of singles in a certain format, right? They can do that. And this is going to push content, I think, for all of these formats, which is also very good. So if you like any of these, there will be opportunities out there to participate in these events. Now, this does mean you kind of are going to have to look, because it doesn't look like we're going to have set seasons like we did previously, where you would have a standard season, a modern season, maybe a sealed season. This is just going to be up to each individual store. So you're going to have to keep track of the calendar and whatever once they put it up, and use their event locator so you know what the formats are at your local stores. So yeah, running it down, you've got your regional championship qualifiers, which are going to happen at the store level. Then you will go to a regional championship, which will be run by one of these, like 10 organizers or whatever around the world. And then those qualify you for the Pro Tour. And then the Pro Tour winners and whatnot, depending on how you place, will get you into the World Championship. So it's pretty cool. But let's dive in just real quick on the actual details of the Pro Tour, because I think that's another thing people want to know about. All right, so to qualify for the Pro Tour, here are all the different ways. You can be one of the top finishers at the regional championship leading up to it. The invites will pass down as players earn multiple qualifications. This is something that at times in various points in the system was bad, because some people could be qualified 3 or 4 different ways and invites wouldn't pass down. It's cool for them to be able to say here that invites will pass down as people earn qualifications. And this is good because you might earn one in Arena, you might play in a regional thing, somebody might have some, good results at the upcoming Pro Tour, which then qualifies them. So it'd be interesting to see where these invites pass down from, but this will be something to keep your eyes on. They said finish with 10 or more wins at the previous Pro Tour. Also good, because this is something that people have been concerned about. Is like, what if I do well at a Pro Tour, but I don't necessarily finish in the top 8 or top 16? How can I chain 3 or 4 events together? Well, this is one of the ways. If you finish with 10 or more wins at the previous Pro Tour, you are automatically qualified for the next Pro Tour. So that's actually pretty awesome. There are going to be online championship showcases. Those will qualify people. They'll have Hall of Fame invites, and it looks like each year they're going to allow the Hall of Fame members to play in 1 regional championship and 1 Pro Tour of their choice, which is pretty cool, because you can choose to try to go qualify and earn a seat one time, and you get 1 free seat each time. So no matter what, if you're in the Hall of Fame, you will get to play in at least 1 Pro Tour event, no matter what, throughout the year. And then if you just want to try to get back on the train or go try to win some money on a weekend, you can go play into a regional championship automatically. And that's good. You earned your right. You got the Hall of Fame ballot, whatever. Should have these people involved. It's a good history of the game thing, and it really doesn't cost anybody any money. You just get some cool people to get to talk about, and it makes stories and coverage better. So great that they're including the Hall of Fame players. Now, players who finish with 39 or more adjusted match points from the previous 3 Pro Tours. This is actually really important. We're going to roll into that in a second, because they do talk about that. And then the top 4 finishers from the Magic World Championships receive invites to all 3 Pro Tours in 2022-2023. So if you finish top 4 in Worlds, you're automatically qualified for every Pro Tour the next year. Again, don't have a problem with that. Think it's awesome. You did well at the biggest event of the year. You should be qualified for the upcoming Pro Tours. Now, they do show an example here that says, this is for the rolling number of 39 points, right? If a player finishes 10-6 at a Pro Tour, thus qualifying for the next Pro Tour, because again, they already got 10 wins, they'll qualify for the next Pro Tour. They would earn 21 adjusted match points. What this means is the number of match points you would get, and you get 3 for a win, 1 for a draw in competitive Magic. Your adjusted match points is that number minus 9. So 10-6 gets you 30 points, minus 9 is 21 adjusted match points. Then, if they finish 9-7 at the next Pro Tour, earning 18 adjusted match points, because again, you have 27 minus 9, 18, they'll have 39 points, which would qualify them for the next 2 Pro Tour events, because it takes your next 3 rolling events. And the reason that's important is no matter how bad they do at the next event, they already have 39 points. But what that means is any previous 3 Pro Tours, you will have to have earned 39 match points to continue staying on the Pro Tour without having to qualify again. But this is really good because, 9-7, while still difficult, is an attainable number. Or maybe you go 8-8 each time or whatever, right? But that's enough for you to stay on the train, as they say. So this is another really great way. And to be honest, it's easy to track, right? Players can just go back, look at their last 3 Pro Tours, figure out how many points they have and say, hey, am I qualified for the next one? Right? Very easy to figure out. I like this system even more than what we had previously because this just says you don't even have to have a long string of huge numbers. You can have one really good one. Maybe it's a format you're great at. And, like in the example, you go 10-6, 11-5, whatever. And then you have a couple that you're maybe, 5-11, and you have another one you go 9-7, and you're like, okay, cool, I got enough to stay on. And then you just have to do well in another event. So I really, really like this system. I think this is a smart idea from Wizards of the Coast for sure. Now, that being said, we're going to have to put butts in seats for the first year of the Pro Tour trying to restart it because you're not going to have everybody with the match points and everything yet. So where we're at is Wizards of the Coast has said for Pro Tour 1, the top 32 players from the 2022 World Championship will qualify for the first Pro Tour. Great. Makes sense. All the players who finish 9-6 or better at the New Capenna Championship. So if you get to participate in the championship, it now has extra weight. Bonus invitations at each regional, but invites given varying by region. So most likely if you're in the 3 bigger regions, we're talking about like Japan, North America, Europe, you're going to end up having more invites available than you are in, say, Central America, just because you're going to have more players and bigger events, which, while slightly unfair, does also make sense just because of the size of the attendance and whatever. And they'll do 50% more than they would normally do, just to whatever that number ends up being, just so they can qualify more people for this first year. Or first event, I should say. Then Pro Tour 2, all the players who finished 9-7 at Pro Tour 1. So once we have a Pro Tour, everybody that gets at least 9 wins. And then the bonus invitationals from the regions, just like before. And then Pro Tour 3, same thing. Everybody who finishes 9-7 at the previous Pro Tour and the regional invitations. And by then, we're able to start putting together people that have 39 points, and we can start talking about who's going to be auto-qualified each time. And then finally, the World Championships. The World Championships, they said, will have a larger field than in recent years. Again, they're trying to aim for about 128 players. The World Championships will feature the following: the top 4 finishers from the 2022 World Championships. So this is actually important. So if you finish in the top 4 of Worlds, you get qualified for every Pro Tour and an invite back to next year's World Championship. So you're good for the whole year if you qualify top 4 of Worlds. Players who finish 12-4 or better at any of the season's 3 Pro Tours. Also important, if you do well in one event and you go 12-4, which admittedly 12-4 is super fantastic on the Pro Tour, but if you go 12-4 or better, you're auto-qualified for the World Championships. So this is going to make some of those last couple of rounds in some of these events very important. When you're, on that 9th or 10th win, 11th win, those start to become a story we can talk about, because now somebody's not just playing for top 8 or whatever, they're playing for a world championship seat. So I actually like that to add a little extra context, add some bigger stakes to some of these later matches in the tournament. The top 2 from each of the 3 Magic Online showcase events. Awesome. And players will be determined from Arena. There'll probably be multiple ways to get in there. Of course, all of your regional champions, like we talked about before, will automatically qualify for Worlds. And then also the runner-up from regional championship events in US, Europe, and Japan. And this is exactly what we're talking about, because these events are likely going to be bigger and a bit tougher. They're awarding extra invites. So if you win a regional, you're automatically in. If you're the second place finisher in a regional championship in US, Europe, or Japan, you will also qualify for the World Championships. Then the top 32 ranked players that are not already invited to the World Championship, Pro Tour 3, adjusted match points, standings, all that stuff. So there will be standings with points and whatnot, and then the top 32 that aren't otherwise qualified in any of these other ways will then get those last 32 invites for the World Championship. My goodness, that's a lot of news, but it's all good news. I think this is all super awesome, right? This is great. This is awesome. This is all stuff that we wanted to hear. This is a clear path. This shows all the different ways you can qualify. It's clear to understand what events matter where you live. Now, there will be more details per region and per organizer. We know that's going to be a thing. But this is actually really, really good to start with. Like, if we're going to restart a Pro Tour, this is cool. Now, the downside is we don't have a Grand Prix announcement, like the big tournaments used to go to with like 1,000 people or whatever, right? But they did say that other events could be run by these regional organizers. So it's very possible that you could see DreamHack or Face-to-Face Games run a Grand Prix. I'm going to put in quotes, and they may not be called Grand Prix. They'll be bonus regionals or something, who knows what, like bonus events. But I would not be surprised if Wizard says, okay, with these events, the top 4, top 8, whatever, qualify for the regional championship, the Pro Tour, Worlds, whatever. So you're going to have events throughout the year, which is pretty cool, because you'll have all your store events, you'll have your regional events, you'll have Pro Tours happening, and these other special events whenever they pop up. And who knows, maybe we add Grand Prix in later as the want for them comes back. But this is a very good start. I have no problem with them doing it like this. I think this is a very good intro, a jump start, if you will, to what this system could look like. So man, yeah. And the fact that you have Magic players just being happy all over online, and we complain about everything, like, they got it right. They got it right. This is people were asking what I thought. It's like something like this, because I figured nothing else makes sense. So here we are. Again, by the time you're watching this, I know we're probably going to be live streaming the announcement that they're doing. I guess the related press announcement. I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll talk about that, and then I'll do a follow up on what we learned from that. But yeah. Hope this helps you out. Let me know down in the comments. Are you excited? Are you going to attempt to qualify for any of this stuff? I mean, there's just so many questions. But yeah, let me know how you feel. As always, like, subscribe, share, and be sure to check out my other videos, because I have some cool standard stuff out and about that people may be interested in playing again, because your local stores might be running some standard. But yeah, please join the channel, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. That's all I have for you for now. See you next time.